Welcome back, everybody, to the Amazon European Masters. And again, I feel like I have to apologize for what everyone just witnessed, because that was a brutalization by Karmine Corp in that last game.
At least it was quick. I feel like Team Phantasma came in with a draft that makes sense in isolation, but into what K-Corp had, into what K-Corp did in their first matchup last week, I don't think was the best strategy. And ultimately, Bako got blasted. Wasn't just the individual 1v1, it was the team playing around top, and K-Corp did what K-Corp do.
And honestly, it all kind of came down to the way the top lane gave a double kill early, and then they got to pull off plays like this, where Cabochard and Sacre and the rest of Karmine Corp just get to flex on this top side of the map.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy the scenery here, because I feel like a lot of the highlights will be here on the map, because K-Corp were playing behind that tier 1, just denying waves again and again and again and again. And it was a really frustrating situation, right? They specifically didn't take the tower so they could keep denying farm. And then when Team Phantasma tried to make something happen with C in the mid lane, the super fed Aurelia turns up and just is unstoppable, right? Cabochard's still full HP, no real damage to take him out. And it was just decimation from there on.
And that's with Death Dance and Immortal Shield Bow yet to pop. And then we see it almost catch onto Cabochard, but the stopwatch is just in time. And then he goes right back to full pretty much straight after. There was a world here, honestly, Orcs, where I thought he might have been able to go towards a quad or a penta here, but alas, couldn't quite make it happen.
Yeah, close, unfortunately. We see Pepe actually escaping, and then we saw Reckless killing Bako solo on the top side. So his team is doing a bit too much to allow him to get a quadra penta, but that goal graph, I feel like illustrates exactly how this game went, right? K-Corp got a lead, they got a bigger lead, they got the biggest lead, and they won.
It's an unreasonably massive gold lead and some unreasonably massive damage numbers. Cabochard and Reckless proving why they're considered some of the best players in the ERL system right now. Stellar performance from both of them, at least in terms of the DPM numbers.
But critically, Team Phantasma, their first loss against K-Corp was the fastest of EU Masters so far at 19:23. It lasted over 4 minutes longer. So that's the positive spin I'm taking away from this.
It's the best we can get. And honestly, for Phantasma, yes, that's a rough loss. But on the other hand, you sometimes just have to take those knocks and try and move on from those. You've still got 2 more games to play. You can still play Blue Shell, and you take these learnings and you try and come back into the GLL, into the rest of the potentially a future tournament, and show them up then. But it's time to turn our eyes to our next match, namely X7 Esports versus GamerLegion. And before I let you talk, Orcs, I have got to explain that there is some beef here. Because, of course, the casting teams for both the Prime League and the NLC cast from the same studio in Berlin. We share the same studio. We switch over the signs in that studio. And it means there's been some healthy banter. We've been leaving each other notes about EU Masters, about how the Prime League and the NLC are going. And right now, I'm happy to admit that the NLC is doing incredibly well. I am very excited to see X7 continue to do us proud. And with this lineup, I expect to see amazing things. They've been turning up so well so far this tournament, Orcs.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, the last 2 tournaments has been K-Corp who topped them out, but it's been the NLC right on their heels, going to finals both times. So a lot of expectations still for this lineup. For the side of GamerLegion, though, I feel like we've got to say, haven't had as much success as we'd hope for. Currently 3rd in the group and have to do some catching up right now. Pretty stacked roster, though, from the region. Sacre in the top lane, Dank in the jungle, ESCIK in the mid lane, Jinjo, AD carry, and Visdom in support. So definitely, I think the player talent there, we've seen it from them domestically, just hasn't quite resurfaced in the group stage so far.
Not yet. And again, part of it is this group is incredibly stacked. And to take it back away from behind-the-scenes banter between the various production teams, I'll bring it back at some point later, but I had to mention it at least a moment. But for GamerLegion, they are in a group with Karmine Corp, Cabochard, Reckless. We've been over that already. You're into X7 Esports, who have pulled out these insane drafts. Everything from Trinzimir Soraka comps with Vladimir to Diana Yasuo to standard stuff. One of their players is a literal world champion. You can pick his Ezreal skin in-game right now. That is a ridiculous level of experience to be coming into. It is exactly. Have you got a skin in the game? No? Well, be quiet, that's kind of a hard one to outdo. And for GamerLegion, yes, they're the Prime League first seed, but this is a monumentally difficult group.
Yeah, and I think ultimately the way it is now is GamerLegion need to beat either K-Corp or X7. They need to beat one of them. If they don't, even if they do beat them, that's no guarantee they'll be able to make out of groups, but they have to beat at least one to even have a chance. So it's now or it's later, but we need to see them have a good performance. And I think ultimately, the last time we saw this matchup, it was a little bit of a tricky one, right? I think particularly in the mid lane, that's where we saw it falter. We saw a bit of an interesting composition come out from X7, right? We
It
saw
was
the Sacre
genius.
bot lane, we saw the Vladimir into the Ahri, and that's really where the problems came from, was that mid lane. So I think GL, there's definitely a lot of positives to the roster, but making sure ESCIK doesn't have a rough matchup with the Tempt, I think, is step one for me.
Absolutely, and he has been struggling a little bit under the pressure, and Tempt and Haru are an LCK duo that have come over here and have proven why they are so dangerous, especially with the flexibility of the players. It makes ESCIK's life quite difficult here, and if you're suddenly not able to play the Ahri as cleanly as you want, they've actually had to ban it out here because they're afraid of something like the Vladimir pick into it, so they'll ban that one out. And X7 on that blue side, maybe have got a few first picks and some counter picks available to make things a little bit tricky. Any other bans you really want to see here in this first round? I'm seeing Zeri still up and available, at least right now.
I feel like Zeri's a mandatory red ban. I kind of don't like leaving it until third ban on red because, you know, it's a guaranteed ban. I feel like you have to give away, so I would expect to see it. I feel like X7 have a bit more freedom banning away the MF. In this situation, we have seen GL bring out before.
Oh, so yeah. Jinjo popped off on it first game, yeah.
Has a lot of strong early laning pressure, so trimming the tools there. But I feel like, actually not banning the Zeri.
Okay.
So interesting one in this situation. We'll see if X7 opt to pick it up. I don't see why you wouldn't. I'm hoping. My view on Zeri, I've seen games, right? There was one specifically in the LPL where it was EDG against RNG. They left the Zeri open and they had a full composition to deal with it. Loads of point and click CC, loads of tools you can't avoid. I think leaving Zeri up is risky, but okay. But you have to have a strategy to face it, right? There's a reason why it gets banned so frequently.
Okay, well, potentially one way to do it is to make sure the early lane is a challenge. Lucian can certainly make that a possibility. Still obviously flexible, can go into multiple roles right now, but Lucian Nami on the table, they'll lock in the Jarvan, which you can lock the Zeri down with, but if she's got that lightning rush available, can just zip over the Cataclysm wall and get out to safety. So see a little bit more than that to continue locking down, because you need to draft like a whole comp, as you said. You need to pull that EEG, give me Camille's, give me gold cards, give me more to make sure that everything that Zeri can do, there's nothing she can do in this game.
100%. And I feel like for X7, you're probably just going to lock in like mid jungle or jungle support in this situation. Gonna go for the Zhao, which has been quite popular. Really strong in the skirmish, is really good in the front to back and create a lot of space for the Zeri. The question is what they're going to take here. You know, we obviously have seen the likes of the LeBlanc and the Ahri taken off the table, so could still go for something with that early agency. I feel like maybe keeping support till later makes sense, just so you can ensure a good matchup for the Zeri, though.
It's one of Haru's most played champions as well. It's good into the Lucian, so I can see that. They'll lock in the Yuumi, though, so you've got that Zeri-Yuumi combo that can be pretty difficult to deal with if you can get to the mid-game alive and well. The Nami lock-in suggests exactly how GamerLegion want to play. Still some room to flex that Lucian if they so wish. Lane domination, punish the Zeri, punish Nata and Kasing. You can see the angle here. It's a bold call.
Yeah, and I feel like the things I said before about you need the tools to punish the Zeri, when she has a Yuumi, that's like doubled, right? Because I feel like she essentially just bolsters the champion so much. The same rules apply, but she is so much more extreme if she's allowed to go unchecked. So we'll see if they're able to mitigate that. Typically, we see things with a lot of point and click CC coming out. The Nami doesn't really offer that. It's going to be hard to land a bubble, but you have that burst potential. Lucian able just to dive on top around 100 Azir, especially once first time is completed. We're getting the bans coming out. Tryndamere, something we've seen Jaeger take, would cause a big thorn in the sides of GL, so they're taking that one away. Yep. And we see the Gangplank banned. Is obviously, if you're wanting to play around bot, which I feel like GL, you're going to have to do so, Gangplank something that can assist from a distance.
Something like an Ornn or even potentially a Shen ban here if you really want to go all in on that bot lane availability. I like that Tryndamere ban, as you called out as well. I mean, Jaeger, for the record, had a pentakill on it in the regular season over in the NLC. They'll ban out the Camille themselves. Interestingly, you don't want to give that one over to Jaeger, even though that is often a pretty easy pick into the Zeri, because you can just lock her in the cage and you just can't, you can't jump out of that.
Yeah, often something we see, so I guess we'll have to see what GL have. I feel like Lucian Nami alone isn't enough. I feel like that's not enough to say I have this as an answer to the Zeri Yuumi, especially since like even the favorable trades earlier kind of mitigated by the sustain. Do you see Jace ban coming out? We'll see what GL have. I feel like you could take a mid lane if there's something that you want to blind in this situation. Twisted Fate, as you talked about, point and click CC for the Zeri, and something that can lean really emphasized towards the bot lane, but the same is true for the Ryze, right? I feel like having a roaming mid that can put pressure down early and has point and click CC, it's going to have a lot of value here.
Definitely hovering between those two picks at the minute. We'll lock it in now, and they have got the opportunity to roam bot, to get the shove. You've got more point and click CC, even if it is a little bit shorter range. feeling like the Tempt is going to become all but mandatory right now for Nata. Of course, he has out that easy access to something a bit more. Need to see what else comes up from this one, though. Gonna think about that Azir pick potentially.
Yeah, something that outrange the Ryze and actually contest prio quite well, while also being hard to punish, right? Because you have all that mobility. And I feel like GL's short range will be punished by this composition X7 has. So I feel like the early emphasis is going to be on GL. We'll see what they opt to round out on the top lane for Jaeger. There's a lot of scaling elements to the side of X7, but they still have that strong jungler who can apply some pressure. I feel like a top laner that you might want to be able to play around would have benefits here, but ultimately it's a blind pick for Jaeger. So has to have something that he feels comfortable on. He's going to go for the Ornn. So this is X7 heavily leaning towards the later stage of the game. If they get there, great. They have a really strong composition to play with a strong front line, a back line that are going to be very hard to close the distance on. But I feel like they have limited tools to play around early. GL, see what they opt to go for in the top lane. And I feel like if you're in the Ornn, you can just take the Gwen. You know, it's pretty on theme if you're trying to gap close, if you're trying to find flank angles, would work pretty effectively into dealing with X7.
Could see something like a Kennen potentially as well if you want the more of the team fight option. They do go towards that Gwen. It is in. And that does leave them with the ability to shove bot. They've got the free lane for the Gwen, who of course has had her laning abilities nerfed pretty repeatedly across her existence as a champion. Tempt doesn't get a hold of his Azir. It's not something we've seen a huge amount from him. I believe this will be his first game this season on it, but all time, it's his most played champion. I mean, that's no surprise. He comes from the LCK. He's been playing for a number of years. And Azir Victor, Azir Corki was meta for so many years that not a surprise to see that one high up in terms of the play rate charts, but it's certainly a champion Tempt will be comfortable on. And in the last game these two teams played off, Tempt kind of gapped ESCIK. It was an issue we said when we were prepping for this one. Look, we need to see the mid game, or the mid lane rather, be stabilized, be given a little bit more room to work
100%.
with, and I feel like they've got that and a way to change the focus.
Yeah, and it's the same mid jungle we saw from K-Corp in the game before, right? The Jarvan Ryze, we saw what they can do when they can get rolling, but they can play at the sides. That's the game plan here. I feel like bot lane is going to be the preferred role. Gwen, you're happy just farming up, but you need to kind of crush this Zeri out of existence. And I will say my criticism of X7's draft is they have indexed heavily into a lot of scaling elements. I feel like it gives them a lot less tools to play with early, but the payoff is pretty massive if they get to the later stages. So a risky gambit here, and it's the cards are in GL's hands. Not specifically because they don't have the TF, but they still have the tools to get things rolling, and they're going to have to if they want to come out ahead here.
They're going to give it a go. They've got the comp to do it, and this is not what you'd call a prototypical X7 draft. They do like to be able to make plays early. They were, at least in the NLC, our best early game team, whereas, of course...
Feels a bit more like a Bifrost conversation.
Honestly, yeah, not dissimilar. Of course, maybe not that much Azir, but Azir's not been that common in that front, but Shikari was a big Ornn player. Makes a lot of sense on that front. And on the other side, GamerLegion, they've shifted it up. They've decided to try and adjust some of the issues they had in the last game, as Haru might be face-checking here. He's going to find a lot of people. Flashes away from the Ignite, but he's still going to get tanked down. The Ignite and a flash forward from Jinjo secures first blood, and that is fantastic news for GamerLegion and a disaster for X7. Flashes down and first blood, exactly what GamerLegion needed to be doing.
Oh,
Wait, they interrupt Jinjo, and now he's in trouble. Here come the rest of X7, they can try and punish. Remember, Jinjo has no flashes, got the relentless pursuit, but will get knocked down. Tempt gets a turnaround.
Oh, absolute disaster. Just after they get the good play, and a little bit
Wisdom.
overzealous.
Minions have respawned. They've started, the minions have spawned, rather. That's a really bad time to die.
Yeah, I mean, they should get there in time, but one of the things with Lucian Nami is you can play very cheesy, right? If you get control of a brush early, you can use that E double auto with the empowered damage from the Nami to burst out. They won't get that chance, and I like this play, right? They expect the early ward from Haru to track the Jarvan, especially since Jarvan's early presence is so important. The problem is when they go to reset, right? Particularly the Lucian, you have a dash. You could have walked into the Baron pit, and then if anyone came, you dash over the wall. But I think they just didn't expect to be called out on this. And so the interrupt comes in. At this point, no flash available. The Lucian's just dead.
He goes down. Tempt picks it up as well, of all people. Bot side trading is coming in pretty hot and heavy. It's barrier for Nata, by the way. He's not gone towards anything like the cleanse. Interesting choice there, but maybe hoping to be able to survive some of the bursts. And with that flash down, actually some ways where they can trade in a bit heavier. Because remember, the Ignite rather is down from Visdom as well. So big summoner advantage down here.
And I think I want to set expectations for this bot lane. A lot of people will look at Lucian Nami and be like, oh, they're lane bullies. They're into Yuumi, right? Surely they can just do what they want. The truth is, it's actually very hard because firstly, there's triple combat summoners for X7's bot lane, right? You have heal, exhaust, and barrier, which makes it very hard for you to actually win an all-in. And secondly, Lucian Nami is very bursty, but their 100 to 0 damage isn't amazing. If you dash in as Lucian and combo, that's mostly it. After that, you're just slapping autos in, right? And Nami, she buffs you, but she doesn't offer much of her own damage. So if you ever dash in on X7's bot lane, you have to have a way of getting back out again. Otherwise, the extended trade will favor X7. And as a result, I feel like GL's bot lane probably need to be waiting a bit more for level 6 before they can really look for 100 to 0 all in.
We'll have to wait on that one, of course. Maybe that could change around if Danke or ESCIK can get down here and make that an even more uneven fight. But as it stands right now, it's a slight gold lead to GamerLegion off the early first blood and plays. Still going to be both teleports burned early in mid lane, matched by ESCIK just now. Of course, remember, Tempt did get that early kill in the mid lane as we're going to get a trade in. Nata going to get over the wall, but does get chunked, as you said. They do have the burst.
Yeah, the burst comes in, and ultimately they end up burning one combat summoner.
ESCIK.
Oh,
he's in trouble. Here comes Haru as well. Remember, there's no flash on that Jinjo, but massive trade out from Tempt. ESCIK doesn't burn the flash, but he's at least got a corrupting potion, but that's about it to try and trade out that lane, and they will lose control of this bot side river.
Yeah, really good positives from X7, right? They're able to mitigate the pressure coming at mid. If the Ryze is trapped in lane, getting shoved in and chunked out by the Azir, he's never going to get to move. And we see Danke was actually looking for a gank bot earlier. That's why X7's bot lane was so concerned and had to back away. But ultimately, Haru's presence makes it impossible for him to find anything.
Nata going to get towards this wall best he can. Gets over it, does get chunked, but will get out. Needs to reset nice and early. The exhaust was popped the last time that little trade happened, and it is a relatively early trade out and reset, but both sides will decide now is the time to back off. The Jinjo will cancel this back. The wave in not the best location right now for X7.
Yeah, and I like the players coming out from GL's bot lane, go for these snappy trades, right? Forcing X7 back and then not overcommitting. Does force X7 out the lane, but ultimately they don't get any kill from it. We'll see X7 able to get back on the map, and but now Danke potentially just moving up towards the top side. The Gwen is also something you can absolutely look to snowball, right? If you get the Gwen ahead, she can be absolutely monstrous, and this lane is a pretty comfortable lane into the Ornn. The current wave state is going to push out for Jaeger, so if Danke does want to come for a gank, there's an opportunity. But we'll see if he opts to. Obviously, the Ornn, not necessarily the easiest target to kill.
I mean, both of these top laners are very experienced. Sacre, of course, former LEC. Jaeger was the artist formerly known as Smitty J. So, like they have been around at the top end of these players. If you can commit resources to these guys, they can certainly look to be a carry force for your team. And Sacre in the GL was, or rather in the Prime League for GL, let me get that sentence correct, was a real force to be reckoned with, right up there as one of the best top laners in the whole damn region, as SJ got pretty low early on there again in the mid lane. No corrupting pots available anymore as bot lane we're getting some more trading. The bottom block coming up from Kasing, though, who is at least remembering to hop off his AD carry, unlike some of those Yuumis in solo queue.
Yeah, and that's part of the thing, right, is that you hop out, you might be able to soak a little bit of damage, but also getting that shield, and then you hop back onto the Zeri, just make it harder to find those trades. I think ultimately, we're seeing GL push their advantages, but the fact that the gold is actually X7 favored so far, they could be very, very comfortable with how the game is going. We are going to see level 6s hit soon, though, by the Jarvan and the Ryze. That's really where these picks can come online and find more. But
Sacre is down to level 6, but will have the skip and slash to get away from the other side. It takes a lot of damage at the back end of it. Has burned the ghost as well. We'll have level 6 himself shortly. There it is after a quick snip to secure a few more minions. But down that amount of HP has to be very afraid. Takes another Bellows breath and is going to be forced out of lane. Does have a teleport though, his bot side. Haru and Danke exchange pleasantries around this bot side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, we really see Sacre actually struggling there. If the final tick of the Bellows breath had hit, we could have seen a flash auto to finish off. But ultimately, Sacre still has the TP, is going to use that up towards the top side. GL are going to start the dragon, and I feel like, you know, they go for the TP top as they don't expect to contest, and Nom will come out from X7.
Jaeger did burn the teleport earlier, so we'll take this opportunity to walk back to lane with Sacre teleport being burned to get back to his tower. And there will be a slight discrepancy there with the teleport timers that maybe X7 can use or abuse later on, but a little more to write home about. Kills are even. Gold is 400 or so in favor of X7, who've managed to turn that around, as you said, and that largely is in this mid lane where Tempt is having a bit of a field day right now.
Yeah, really applying the pressure in this lane. And ultimately, we haven't seen Danke able to find anything so far. Do you see he's actually got the Summoner Spellbook, so we have to see the first strike on the tank Jarvan because it services him similar to like Electrocute would, except Obviously, you don't need to go the domination tree, which is notoriously rough for Jarvan. So you get inspiration, which is great for junglers. But instead of opting to go for that first strike, he's opting to go for the spellbook. So it does have ignite in pocket for some power for those ganks. But we are yet to see the ganks come out from Danke. Did move bot for those early attempts, but as the game goes on, you know, this is what we talked about setting it up, right? X7, as time passes, will feel more and more comfortable in this matchup.
Oh, yes, they will. And while Danke might be an old school pentakill aficionado, Smite and Ignite, that original album, great stuff. Go back and listen to it. Cosplaying it there, as you said, with the Summon Spellbook. You know, I'm sorry, that was the best pun I could come up with on short notice. I apologize.
No, I'll accept it. I'll accept it.
You're right. As it stands, the early game being quiet is exactly what X7 were looking for. And it's another look to this team who have now pulled out 4 very different crafts in the Amazon EU Masters. Of course, a lot more of this game still to be played. Herald has spawned, and maybe that's the point where we see a little more action. But Haru and Tempt just around this mid lane, as is Visdom to back up ESCIK. And a quiet early game, X7 favors.
Yep, I like this play coming out from X7 because, you know, the supports come up. Visdom has moved to try and make his presence known for this Herald. And X7 support has also moved, but that's because he's backpacking on Nata, just coming up and bringing both the AD carry and the supports. And so now GL know, well, can't really contest with this numbers disadvantage. They'll push in this wave bot, which quickly X7 need to respond to catch. But ultimately, the Herald will be secured for X7. So really nice setup for that play. Good movements to secure that neutral objective.
And it is secured. They'll cost themselves a plate. The rest of GamerLegion will secure some Raptors. And Haru and Tempt in mid lane. Maybe there's a world where a Daiku cap, but ESCIK has to flash out from the Emperor's Divide. Summon a burn for the use of the ultimate from the Azir.
Oh, but we see a play come down. Realm Warp available. This is the play we were looking for.
Right, they're going to teleport in, look to defend it. Remember, that will be the mid laner. Nice dodge, and there's a lightning crash coming out. The barrier's still popped, going to try and heal it. As shit goes down. Nata is traded out, but now Danke under the tower taking a lot of damage. Onto this Yuumi, who has not got the W. Tower shot will make it a 2 for 2.
Oh, and now Haru's looking for more.
Oh, Jinjo needs to work out how to trade. He's got flash, will need to get in. The audacious charge onto the minion means there's not much more to be found, but Jinjo and Visdom forced out of the lane as the mid-jungle duo who've come over from the LCK will force the GamerLegion away from that tower.
And honestly, X7 happy with that one, right? We see the aggressive play from GL. They finally get the Realm Warp working, the bot lane lean that they wanted to make happen. But critically, the TP comes in from the Azir, and Nata does a beautiful job of extending this play to get reinforcements from the team. So initially moves forward very aggressively and then repositions back under the tower. ESCIK just gets completely bursted out, and then Danke, he knows he's kind of caught out here, has to trade the kill. But ultimately, if you're trading in this situation, you're absolutely losing out, right? The Realm Warp's such a long cooldown. It's now down for, you know, another couple of minutes. And in that period of time, X7 are comfortable, right? And they have the Azir 3-0-0 with 100 CS already, really shining for their composition.
Double kill out of that play. He got a double kill out of that play. That is not what you want to see on this champion that's supposed to be waiting to scale. You can see the goal discrepancies. Jinjo has got early gold. Great news for GamerLegion, but the mid lane, that's less good news.
Yeah, and the thing is as well is that the Lucian Nami does spike very well on one item, but as the game goes on, you're against a Zeri, Yuumi. This bot lane combo just scales so exceptionally. There's still windows. I think particularly the Mandate and Gale Force combo is the big threatening one, but things not going too stellar for GamerLegion. Now,
it's a Herald pop as well.
Yeah, I mean, they have that in pocket. They can use that. The options are you throw it mid, get a couple of plates, right, and thin the tower down for the second Herald, or you can look to take a full structure in the side lane is usually what most teams get out of it. But the fact that X7 have the Herald, the fact they mitigated that Realm Warp play, all big positives are slowing down the pace of the game to favor them.
Nata and Kasing trying their best to play as annoyance on the side there, knowing that Danke was around, trying to see options that were available. Not too much more to write home about. And a brief moment here to talk about stakes, because of course, if X7 win this, they secure a knockout spot. GamerLegion lose this, they are out. They can no longer contest. They need this win after Carmine Cole won early. We've got ourselves a fight coming through. Lightning crash from Nata. That's not the best final chapter ever. It's not going to get too much done. Stopwatch pod for Danke. Now getting knocked out. Tempt over the wall. Going to try and get some damage out. But that Crescent got into the shuffle. A triple for Tempt. What a monstrous play. He shuffles them straight into their graves.
And the payoff coming early for the Azir. 6-0 on this pick. We said, based on the previous matchup between these two, we needed to see the mid lane discrepancy not be so huge. And I feel like it's grown. Tempt, an absolute monster. They're going to throw down the Herald mid. And with no one to defend, they should just take this tier 1.
It's just a mid-jungle gap. They come in, they get the most value out of they could possibly add. 6-0-1. They'll get the turret as well. And the gold lead explodes in favor of X7. I no sooner mention the stakes than X7 come and put GamerLegion to the sword.
The problem is, if GamerLegion loses, there's still a hope, but they need X7 to also beat K-Corp, right? GL, if they lose this one, they cannot lose another game, and they also need other matches to have a particular outcome.
Sorry, I thought Carmine Core had already reached 4 games, and I'm misremembering in my head. You're completely correct.
They're 3-1 now, but it still means, right? If they have to win this game to keep fate in their hands. If they lose this one, they're hoping for different results to go in a particular direction, and that is never a fun time. But regardless, X7 doing as much as they can to secure this lead. And the goal discrepancy mid is just ballooned. It's a 2,000 deficit. I think that was before the tower take. I think it's probably 2,500 now between these two. And it's an Azir, right? Yes, nearly 3,000.
That's monstrous. And you can see the leads there. X7 playing through their mid jungle. Who cares if your comp scales a little later when you can pull off plays like that? The mid tower's gone down as well. Of course, it's an Azir. You can throw up a sun disc. He can, like, that wave control in mid lane is now firmly in command of X7. Down strong. There's the Leandries in. There's a stopwatch in. So much to go and work with right now for X7. And topside, the Gwen's doing fine, but little else to write home about on that front. The Lucian has died a couple times now as well. And GamerLegion sweating a bit in this match.
Yeah, more than a bit, right? I feel like this point is feeling rough. And
it's British understatement, Orcs. Come on, join me. It's topside.
I feel like I'm understating still. It's a very, very dire situation to be put in. And we see X7's jungle mid moving together, applying more pressure.
They're not done. In they come. Another nice little shuffle. Danka chunked out. He may have a flash. We'll need to burn it. Flash over the wall from Haru. Not going to be required. Bot side, Nata and Kasing trading out. Jinjo gets exhausted. Its summoners popped, but X7 survived the attempted dive.
And the fact that X7's bot lane, despite being down in gold, are still trading up in this.
Oh, they get bubbled! That's a problem. Gonna heal back. Trade back. It was all a goddamn bait. They get the kill. They can dash over. A double for Nata and Kasing. Here comes the Realm War, but it's just too little too late. They'll root him under tower, but they just can't have enough damage. They've got Azumis! And out of there as well. It's a cat burglar. Thieves in the bot lane.
Oh my lord. I was gonna say their final hope may well be this bot lane. The one-item spike for Lucian Nami with the mandate and the Gale Force could be great for finding picks, but they lose the 2v2 disrespect the Yuumi Zeri, and they will deliver it. I feel like everything is falling apart. Sacre, the only one who's not had a rough time, but at the end of the day, it matters not when your team is struggling. And we're gonna replay, and this is a problem, right? If you dash in, you have the sustained damage coming out from the Zeri. You have the ultimate and the exhaust combo, so Jinjo has to disengage. And then the extended trade, you have all the sustain from the Yuumi. You have the ult still stacked and going from the Zeri as well.
It's all a bait. I thought when this bubble landed, Nata was doomed, but Kasing gets off, and then the heal and the shield, enough to turn it all around.
That's the thing, the triple combat summoners, right? Barrier, exhaust, and heal used in that. Critically, the cleanse as well for the Lucian. Yes, it removes CC and that has value, but you're not removing any stuns from X7, right? You're only removing the root, and at the end of the day, you can still DPS in the root. So all in all, like, the amount of damage that's mitigated by X7 so much bigger than GL's.
Haru just fearless going on. ESCIK is taking out a half HP. They can keep chasing this. Tempt over the wall, but there is Jinjo and Visdom. Still going to get a big trade. The Crescent Guard comes out. Shut down is critical, but the Core of the Forge God comes through. They'll make that a 1-for-1. But it's quite secure anymore, but the root will land on the Danka. Now trying to heal up with the smite. Can't quite get any more of that bubble. The Aqua Prison is there to secure the disengage, but the health bars are so low. Yes, you've lost the jungler, but you can't stand and contest for this dragon. Or actually, the dragon's not up, so it'll just be the jungle.
They've got time, so they'll still win the blue buff. Be happy with the extra kill they've taken. And it just feels like the gap is opening more and more. It's 5k gold deficit. And I mean, at least GL have the dragons in pocket, but I just don't feel like it's going to be enough in this situation. Nata's going to push in this turret. Oh, get a TP flank coming in.
Okay.
This is the
They're
Ryze
trying to
and the
escape best they
Jarvan.
can. It is just the Jarvan, but remember, there is the Ryze as well. They're going to turn it around, and that was, of course, the Summoner spellbook TP. Tempt will just turn up, then they'll secure this tower anyway. So double TP pot. Yes, one of those is spellbook, but they do not manage to find the wraparound.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you burn both those TPs, and then Tempt, just how strong he is, channels his. You're like, okay, well, you can have our tower.
We're gone. Bye.
We're gone. We tried.
Not very tempting.
No, not
so
at
to
all.
speak. Name puns are lazy, but I've got to come up with one or two of them every now and then. All the while, though, might see a bit of trading in the middle lane. Visdom chunked out. Almost Tempt, though! The shuffle on 3! Massive shutdown that will secure that kill back, but they're going to keep trading around ESCIK. We're not going to get too much more. Jinjo gets the shutdown, but it's still a 2-for-1.
You know, it looks
it's not
cool,
done yet.
but I feel like GL, honestly, getting the shutdown can be pretty happy with the passage of play. The problem is what happens after. Rift Hole going to get thrown down mid. GL going to try and contest this, but the tower is certainly gone.
Big gold influx into your important carry in the Lucian, but they still died, they still lose the turret, and it is still a net positive for X7. It's just not flawless, and that silver lining is a decent one this time around.
Well, we do see a long TP flank from Sacre. They want to contest this dragon. Bring in extra members.
Still point. Remember that. They can definitely think about it. Of course, Jaeger doesn't have TP, so they can't come down, and Tempt burned his to get that bot side tower. They can make this one happen. It will be a 3v4. Should X7 want to take it, they're pretty slippery with these champions. Going to be in and around. They could go for the smite contest. Haru has that available alongside the Kasing guard to try and knock people out. It's going to come down to that fight. Tempt here, 4v4. Making a 4v5 as Jinjo's now available. In comes the tidal wave, but into the back end goes Haru. Does not quite manage to get the smite yet. Does secure it. Now needs to try and find their way out. Will surely fall here as a trade, but actually the damage back is pretty damn good. Flashes over the wall, gets away with it, and they do get the dragon and get out.
Yeah, bold play from X7, contesting with them number down, but they know they're strong. They have faith in it, and Haru delivers with the smite. Keeps GL away from Soul Point. In the meantime, Jaeger gets to push in this massive wave top and take a tower. So it's the win-win-win for the side of X7. A little bit risky, but now you can see the items coming in. Rabadon's death cap completed for Tempt. That's rough to see.
8, 1, and 3. 2 items, stopwatch, and that death cap in, as you said. This Azir is online very, very early, very, very strong, and X7, they're known for it. They play for everything there. They contest the dragon in a greedy situation, but there's no Grievous Wounds really yet. There wasn't an Imperial Mandate yet for Visdom, and suddenly Gore Drinker plus Yuumi plus Crescent Card plus final chapter. There you go. Like, what can you do? So much immunity, so much healing.
Yeah, it's just so hard to cut through X7. I think if I'm GL, the play pattern has to be fish for opportunities where you have a numbers advantage, which, I mean, I guess that was, but I think a big aspect is that the Lucian as well, if you dash onto someone who's overextended with the mandate buff as well, you can burst them out quite quickly. You know, if you dash in a Gale Force and a combo and a culling, you really need someone from X7 to step up and be isolated. Right now, they're doing a great job, right? They push in mid, they group up and move towards this wave. Tempt has top, get some pressure on the tower, and you can see they're just doing the best job to deny vision away from this topside jungle.
Next port of call probably for X7 may well be that Baron that has spawned. They've got the Azir, so they're pretty happy in terms of the amount of damage they can do. Haru hopping forward, trying to get onto Jinjo. Now has to get out with the Gale Force and the dash. Nata over the wall with the Lightning Rush. Lightning Crash comes down as well, and the Spark Surge nearly enough, trying to stay alive as Nata gets the kill. Now Danker will secure one back, but now they're turning it back around. Tempt taking solo, but does have the stopwatch to burn. Doesn't fall. In comes Sacre into the backside, but so much healing comes through from the Zoomies, and they get the kills. Jaeger gets out into 4-for-1, and X7 murder GamerLegion their own blue side jungle. Baron back on the card.
X7, I feel like the fight wasn't even that fantastic for them, right? It looked a little bit messy. Nata overextended, but it didn't matter. The goal deficit was there, and as a result, X7 able to deliver the Azir basically untouched. The Yuumi dashing around and healing. And as you said, the Baron will be the cost for that one. It's almost 7,500 gold lead pre-Baron, and with that, they're just blowing the game open.
You're seeing some of the quintessential X7. Maybe we overextend in the mid game and look for these aggressive fights that perhaps go a little too far. But my days, so they make it work here. It got a little close, though, as you said.
Yeah, there was definitely moments, right? The AD carry going down, and then this extended fight. We see Sacre come in, but the problem is Tempt gets this massive heal, able to get back up into a comfortable position, turns it around, and the Gwen just ran out of gas. I feel like If the goal deficit wasn't so big, maybe that fight would have been one that worked. But things have just gotten worse. We see the ornaments start to come out. An upgraded Leandries for the Azir. A third item, Azonya's picked up as well. Nata got a second. It's not in a good spot. And although GL take that bot tower, get an objective bounty, on the other side, we can see X7 continuing that pressure.
Indeed it is. Tempt in this top side, shoving in right now. Haru and Kasing just shadowing that, standing between the lanes for either Nata or Tempt in the bot side. Weak side Jaeger might be about to be ganked. He's in a 2v1. Can potentially break their way out of this. There's the call of the full god, looking to try and turn this one around best they can. Gets a knocker, but I think he's just running out of damage here. Can't get anywhere near the kill. So they will get that one. But at the top side, the cost is a massive shove into the top side, and they will lose the inhibitor. At least they do get a trade back.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you're probably losing that inhib anyway. You might as well do something with your time. And they get a kill on a Jaeger, which is something. Deny a Baron buff, and also mean that X7 have to reset, can't over push when they know they don't have the back of the top laner. So it's a small positive. But ultimately, GL's discrepancy in this game, the fact that the Ryze is going to struggle to approach in these fights, just a short-range composition, I feel like things are looking really rough for GL. And as we look at, the day in whole, this is their first match of the day, right? Not a way you wanted to start off. And they absolutely need the wins. If they lose this one, as I said earlier, they will need to win every other game to even have a chance.
It's so difficult. Tempt goes in again. He's got 3 items and he gives no dams right now. Sacre goes straight to the grave another time this game. And Tempt has been so aggressive with those plays, looking for those shuffles at the edge of his range every time. So comfortable, so dominant, so, I don't know, aggressive on this champion this game and coming out on top pretty much every single time thus far.
I mean, he's just been flawless. Like, we haven't seen the Azir much, right? There's been occasional times it's been brought out in the current meta, but for the most part, Tempt has looked like he hasn't skipped a beat. 11, 1, and 3 on this pick.
On the Leandries Lament. That's the upgrade from Ornn. He's got the Zonyas, he's got the Death Cap, there's a Hextake Alternator, probably for a Shadow Flame. I suppose potentially a Horizon Focus, but I doubt it. And like, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, I feel like right now, GL are probably lamenting a little bit.
Just a little bit. This is not how they wanted things to go. And they may still be able to find a way back in, but it would have to be the mother of all miracle turnaround fights. They need the critical burst. They need Jinjo to stay alive, but so hard to work with right now. Another inhibitor tower under siege. They get a root, but it's only onto Haru. The knocker comes through, the 3-talent strike, and ESCIK is dead again. Jaeger looking for a call of the Forge God, gets a knock on a Visdom, keeping away Sacre. Comes through, is immune with the hallowed mist, but I think the only thing being hallowed right now is the dirt which they'll pour over the graves of GamerLegion right now. Now a man down. The siege continues onto their Nexus turrets. GamerLegion, what have you got? Because this will be your last words. Otherwise, another zap comes through. In goes Tempt into the backside. Knocks Jinjo right back in. Golden with the Zhonya still alive. Nata continue to run rampant. Sacre gets knocked down. It's Visdom alone to lament the passing of his team. And even then, that one's not for long. X7 looking to follow in the footsteps of LDLC yesterday. They moved to 4-0, and they are looking to go undefeated today.
Absolute monster performance coming out. And with the draft where I felt like maybe there were areas where they lacked agency. Maybe there were areas where GL were able to find that advantage. But Tempt on this Azir was the piece that just cemented the puzzle. Him and Haru in particular, just unstoppable. I feel like with the composition GL had, you fall behind, it's over.
What an incredible mid-jungle performance that we've seen. And I honestly also credit down towards that bot side. Nata and Kasing playing what could have been quite a difficult matchup pretty damn well as well, considering the amount of pressure that came there.
Yeah, got the 2v2 double kill, right? Even though there was a goal deficit between the AD carries. And I feel like GL dared to leave the Zeri open, and it definitely ended up backfiring. But even without that issue, it felt like they just couldn't find the early momentum. And I've got to say, X7 looks scary, I think, for a lot of teams looking towards this group. And I feel like for K-Corp, looking at a rematch later where they're going to try and take them down, they have a tough hill to climb.
That will be the match to keep your eyes on, it feels. And of course, alas for GamerLegion, they've got a hard schedule ahead of them, but they have got themselves another match to work with. Just after this, we're going to have GamerLegion up against Team Phantasma, so don't go anywhere. We'll have that one after this break.